Echo, stop timer. Jöregelt kívánok, as they say in Budapest. You know, I woke up this morning on a mission, and that was to make tomato basil soup. And the first step takes three pounds of Roma tomatoes sliced in half, and then put on a baking sheet after tossing them in olive oil and salt. So these have been roasting for 40 minutes, and I'm actually afraid to look. You know, you always try to follow the recipe, but you think 400 degrees, 40 minutes, little Roma tomatoes, they're going to be crisp. But, oh boy, look at that. That looks good. That looks really, really good. All right, folks. So this is going to be a recipe for tomato basil soup, right from the garden. Oh boy, let's get started. Look at how beautiful that looks. Oh boy, will you look at that? Those are the ingredients for the roasted tomato basil soup. So I'll go over the ingredients with you here. The ingredients are 3 pounds of ripe plum tomatoes cut in half lengthwise. So that's what you see here. And those were, I took a preheated oven of 400 degrees, and I tossed these tomatoes with a quarter cup of olive oil and salt and pepper. And the salt would be 1.5 teaspoons, or actually, my apology, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt and 1.5 teaspoons of freshly ground black pepper. So those were roasted for the better part of 45 minutes. Okay, now the rest of the ingredients, what it calls for 2 cups of chopped yellow onions, which you can see there back in the left, and then 6 cloves of garlic minced right to the left of the onions there, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, a quarter teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, 1 28-ounce can of plum tomatoes with their juice. So you can see I've got the can of tomatoes right there. And then 4 cups of fresh basil leaves. And it says packed. So there's your basil right from the garden. And then 4 cups of fresh, well, I just said that, but 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. So I have the fresh thyme also right from the garden. And then a quart of chicken stock or water. And I opted for the chicken stock. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started in an 8-quart sauce stock pot. Over medium heat, saute the onions and the garlic with the 2 tablespoons of olive oil, the butter and the red pepper flakes for 10 minutes. So let's get busy. Well, there you see I've got the 2 cups of onions and the 6 teaspoons of garlic, the quarter teaspoon of the red pepper flakes, and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and a couple tablespoons of olive oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this over medium heat just until the onions actually start to brown. And you know, I can tell right now this is one of those recipes that you're just going to sit down to and love. And I think I'll make this with I think I'll have this for lunch with a nice grilled cheese sandwich. Oh boy, that sounds good. The onions and the garlic and the butter and the red pepper, that's been cooking now for the better part of 10 minutes, and the onions are starting to brown. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. So what I'm going to do is add the canned tomatoes. Yeah. So we'll add the canned tomatoes, and then we will add the basil. Kind of interesting. Look at that. It doesn't say chopped or anything. Just add the basil, and then we want to add the thyme. Here you go. Oh yeah. You know, this gardening is kind of fun. So there's my thyme. And then we want to add the chicken stock, which I left over on the counter. So we're going to add the 32 ounces, 4 cups of of chicken stock. So we gotta stir that up a little bit. Got some of the, there you go. All right, and then what else do we need to add? We need to add the, well, we gotta add the star ingredient, and that is the roasted tomatoes. So I'll go ahead and add all of those to this pot. And then what we're going to do is bring it to a boil and simmer uncovered for 40 minutes. So I've got just about all of the tomatoes put in there, and you want to make sure you put the juice that's remaining on the pan, any juices that are left on the pan. So I'll go ahead and do that. Not that there's a lot, but there's a little bit. There you go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is bring this all to a boil. Oh boy, that looks really good. So we'll bring this to a boil and simmer for 40 minutes, and then we're going to pass it through a food mill. So we'll be back. You know, it took me some time to figure out the difference between boiling and simmering, but if I'm not mistaken, that is a nice simmer. So we're going to let that simmer for the better part of 40 minutes before putting it through a food mill. Boy, that looks really good. All right, it's been the better part of 40 minutes, and let's take a look. Oh yeah. Echo, stop. Wow, look at that. It smells delicious. Okay, so now I'm going to pass it through a food mill fitted with the coarsest blade. So I've got actually have a food mill over here, and I just bought this the other day. It was just delivered, and it comes with 3 blades, and I don't know why I've never had one of these in my kitchen. There's the fine grade and the medium, and there's the coarsest grade. So I'm gonna see if I can't figure this out and make soup. All right, so falling under the category of I hope this works. I don't know why it wouldn't work, but anyway, there is the soup, and I'm gonna just use a measuring cup and put it into the food mill here, and then we will give it some turns and see how this comes out. It's gonna be interesting to see. All right, so let's see how this works. There you go. Well, it's going through. I'm kind of curious to see what the end result is going to be here. So I'm just going to keep passing that through the food mill, and slowly but surely it's going through. We'll see what's left, and very interesting. It's taking that, and it's probably no surprise to a lot of you that are cooks yourself, but quite interesting for me. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a thick soup, or will it be a thick soup, or a real thin type of a tomato soup? But just add more of the, almost looks like a good pasta sauce. But I would imagine that this food mill is gonna prevent a lot of the skin from going in. But it actually looks pretty good. Looks really good, as a matter of fact. So we'll just keep, I don't know how well you can see that. Quite interesting. All these years I've been cooking, and I've never had a food mill before. This is a definitely a first. Wow. And you can see getting a lot of that. So this is what's actually turn this camera around now. There you go. Look at that. That's what's left. Now let's see what's inside. Well, you know what? Boy, that actually looks pretty good. Look at that. That looks really good, as a matter of fact. Wow, that came out really nice. You talk about tomato soup. That looks like tomato soup to me. So I have yet to even have my brekkie today, but I'll just leave this on the stove, and we'll come back and do a taste test a little bit later. Oh boy. How does the saying go? Soup's on, or something like that? No. The saying goes, I'll just have the soup. And that's what my dear old dad used to say. He used to always say, I'll just have the soup. So, oh, Dad up in heaven, bless your heart and rest your soul. This soup is for you. So let's see how it tastes. It sure looks good. All right, let's go. Let's. Mmm. Mmm. Oh boy, that's good. What? Oh, the soup. You want to know how the soup tastes? Okay. You know, when I thought of what to have for lunch today, and I knew I had made the tomato basil soup, I couldn't help but to think back as a little kid, going home for lunch. I went to Lincoln Elementary School on 206th Street in Euclid, Ohio. And I remember going home for lunch, and oftentimes, this is what Mom would make. She'd make grilled cheese and tomato soup. Now, in fairness, she wouldn't make tomato soup. She'd get it out of the can, you know. But, I can eat that. You know, it's something to be able to have soup coming right from the garden. And I gotta tell you, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the texture, the texture of the soup is just fantastic. Real hearty, if that's the right word. Wow. Oh boy. That's beyond good. That's even beyond really good. Oh, wow. This is fantastic. This is what, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Is that a word? Don't ask me to spell it. All right, folks. Boy, Mom, if you're watching this video, I wish you could be here to have a little bit with me. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. That's good. See you later.